We are here on the Attorney General's original petition and suit affecting the parent-child relationship. Present in the virtual courtroom is Lisa Barron. Ms. Barron, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Also present is Christopher Barron. Mr. Barron, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
And representing the Office of the Attorney General, Mr. Jason Bunashek. Mr. Bunashek, are you ready to proceed?
Ready, Your Honor.
You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. I call Lisa Barron.
Ms. Barron, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you provide in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you can lower your hand. You may proceed.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Barron, are you the mother of Grace, the child who is the subject of this suit?
Yes, sir.
And how old is Grace?
She is 13. She's about to be 14.
Okay, when will she turn 14?
July 16th.
Okay. And who is Grace's father?
Christopher Barron.
Are you currently married to Christopher Barron?
Yes.
And how long were you, or let me phrase it this way, when did you get married to Christopher Barron?
August of 2010.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, Ms. Barron?
August of 2010.
Okay, so August of 2010?
Yes, sir.
All right, so you were married when Grace was born then?
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. Okay. And you've been separated from Mr. Barron now for how long?
2 years, since June of 2023.
Okay. And Grace is living with you right now, is that correct?
Sir.
Does Mr. Barron visit with Grace?
They visit over the telephone, and he has seen her once in the last 6 months for about an hour.
Okay. Now, I think I've explained to you, or have I explained to you what a standard possession order is like?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think that a standard possession order would be appropriate in your circumstances for Mr. Barron to have visitation with Grace?
Okay, you're talking about visitation, not custodial, the custodial thing we talked about.
No, I'm not talking about conservatorship just yet. I'm just talking about visitation.
Yes, standard visitation would be fine. My only concern is whether or not Grace has to be forced to go if she does not want to go when it is a scheduled visitation with her dad.
Okay. So you don't want to force her to go, even if it's his weekend.
Exactly.
But other than that, you're fine with the visitation schedule in general.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. And let's go ahead and talk about conservatorship, since you brought it up. Since conservatorship essentially is about making decisions, would you like to make all the decisions for Grace, deciding where she goes to school, directing her religious education, making medical decisions, or do you want to share those decisions with Mr. Barron?
No, those should be my decisions alone.
Okay. And why do you feel like you should be the only one to make decisions when you're both the parents of Grace?
Because I'm the one who's raising her.
Okay. Okay. You don't have any concerns for Grace's safety or anything like that?
As far as for visitation, that would be, is that what you mean? Or
in any sense you take it, feel free to answer.
Okay. Well, and also as far as like the standard visitation deal, I know that sometimes it's like a month in the summer or 2 weeks, whatever. We do have, I do have issues with that. When I talked to you alone, I did let you know that she's going into an environment that we are not aware of. We don't know what that environment is like. As I mentioned before, a couple of years ago, right before our separation, a CPS case was opened against Chris for physically assaulting his son. I had to supervise visits between he and his son, and it kind of makes me nervous that my daughter would be in his possession for that long of a time. And being so far away, they're 14 hours away from Texas where we live. So that's concerning to me. Also, Gracie not being comfortable for the same reasons, going into an environment where she doesn't know any of these people. He's moved in with this person and I believe members of her family. And Gracie's just not comfortable being in that position with people that she doesn't know yet. And I don't want to force her to have to go into that environment. Like I told you, Grace is very sheltered. We live in a very small town. The environment that we're in is very calm, very safe. There's not alcohol, there's not drugs, there's not any of that. I don't know where Chris is at. I know he is a recovering addict. I don't think he's returned to that lifestyle, but we don't know. We don't know anything about the environment that he's living in or what environment I'm going to be sending my daughter into.
Okay. Now you referred to Mr. Barron living 14 hours away. Do you know about where Mr. Barron is living right now?
Last I heard, he is in New Orleans, Louisiana.
Okay. So he's in another state.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah. 2 days before he left, he let his daughter know he was moving 14 hours away.
And you referred to an incident where between Mr. Barron and his son. How old was his son at that time?
I believe he was 13 or 14.
And do you know where his son is now?
His son actually was living with me up until the end of May when the school year finished. His father was supposed to come and pick him up when school was out, and he did not show up. So Zevin has moved in with a friend of his. I had gone to pick him up where he was living previously, which was with an aunt, because when Chris left, he just left by himself. He left both of the children, Grace, of course, with me. His son, he left with his sister in Dallas. He ended up breaking some rules over there with drugs and alcohol, so he could no longer stay there. They called his dad to go get him, and he said he couldn't because he didn't have anywhere for him to go. So they called me, and I went to go get him. And so he lived with me from that point up until school finished. A couple of weeks before school finished, he broke some rules regarding drugs and bringing drugs into the house. So I called his dad and told his dad that he was going to have to leave as soon as school was over. At the end of May, his dad was supposed to come and get him and did not come. So Zevin is still here in Spur, but has moved in with a friend of his. I believe Chris made arrangements to come and pick him up this weekend, but at last he told my daughter that he was not going to be able to come again. So Zevin is still living here in Spur.
And you said he was 13 or 14 at the time. And how old is he now?
He is 17.
17. Did he graduate from high school?
No, he still has a year left of school. He stayed here till he finished his junior year of high school. And then in the time that we were separated, when Zevin moved with his dad, because they left the house, there were incidents where Zevin called the police because he was fearful. His dad had pulled a knife on him. And these are things that just make it very hard for me to want to, like I told you, in my heart of hearts, don't believe that he would ever do anything like that with our daughter. But at the same time, I never would have thought he would have done those things with his son.
And I just want to be sure of his situation because he's still a minor. Is there an adult taking care of him right now, or is he living with an adult?
Yes, he's living with an adult and his girlfriend. And I see him, he works at like I told you, we're in a very small town. He works at the grocery store here in town. So I still see him. Just the drugs, we had an agreement that there would be no drugs or alcohol, and he brought drugs into our home, and that's not something I could support. So like I said, the arrangement was that his dad was supposed to be here to pick him up, and then his dad didn't show up.
Just so we're clear on his status, he's Mr. Barron's biological child, but he's not your biological child?
He is not my biological child. He is my stepson, but I have helped raise him since he was 3. When Chris and I got together, I encouraged him to get custody of 3 of his 4 children because they were not in a good environment with their biological mother. So we got custody of those children and raised them together.
All right. What kind of health insurance does Grace have right now?
Right now, she's covered under my policies. She's got medical, dental, and vision.
Okay. And I believe when we spoke earlier, you said it's that kind of plan where whether you have one child or 10 children, it's all the same cost. Is that correct?
Exactly. 138.74 is the amount for one dependent or 5 dependents. So that's what I pay right now for Grace and my other daughter. When my other daughter ages off in December, I will still be paying 138.74 for Gracie's portion.
Okay, and that's 138.74. How frequently?
That's per month.
138 a month?
Is that what we figured? Yes, no, a pay period. I'm sorry.
Okay, and your pay periods are how often?
The 1st and the 15th.
1st and the 15th. Okay.
If Chris would agree to pay the total dependent amount, what I would be fine with that. But if he's wanting that dependent amount to be split in 2, then he would need to get her added to his own policy and then send me that information, since he is legally responsible for medical coverage.
Okay, so that's the total amount that you're paying right now. Is that correct? Is the 130?
No, the total amount that I'm paying now is 301.98.
301.98 a month. Okay.
Yes.
That's per month, basically twice a month. Is that right? Or you're paying it twice a month, but it's 301.98 total per month.
Total per month.
I'm confusing myself here.
Yes, it's 301.98 for the entire month.
Yeah, just split in half.
Yes,
over
and
the
so
pay
split in
periods.
half, it's the 163.20. I'm sorry, the 134.74.
Okay. All right.
I am so sorry. None of these figures are adding up for me. Are
Yeah,
you
it's-
including the dental support in that calculation?
No,
Okay.
that's just the medical.
All right. We're gonna have to get clearer than, because I got 138.74. I've got 301.98. I need some clarification.
Okay. 301.98 is what I pay per month. That's for employee and children. So
Okay,
from the
so
3,
just the children.
so just the children is 138.74 per month.
Per pay period.
No, per month.
Yeah. So the cost of insurance just for you was how much?
163.24 a
Okay.
month.
So if we subtract the 163.24 for you from that 301, that's how we get the 138.74.
Exactly.
Okay. And how many
Exactly.
children are covered right now under that 138.74?
2, Grace, and then my oldest daughter, Danny, who will age off of the policy in December.
Okay. Gotcha.
And I
And
did have Chris's 2 other sons covered, but because he was fighting on how much he had to pay and how it was going to be divided, I took them off the policy.
Okay. And you referred a moment ago to dental insurance too. You have dental coverage for Grace.
Yes, we have dental and vision on the same policy. And that coverage is $26.30 per month.
Is that part of the 138?
Hold on,
Mr.
Mr.
Barron.
Barron. Hold on. You're going to get opportunity here in a minute.
Okay,
and
I'm
please don't
sorry.
interrupt us right now.
I apologize. I was told that I could ask questions.
I'll tell you when you can.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. And that 2630, that's billed separately from the health insurance that we were just talking about. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yes, because we have a different policy holder for our dental and our vision.
Okay. And how many people are covered by that 2630?
On that policy is actually myself, Chris is still covered under that policy. I can't drop him until we're legally divorced through
Okay.
that particular policy holder. So it's myself, Chris, Grace, and Danny. So 4.
Okay. Okay. All right. Now you understand that one of the reasons that we're here is to set child support going forward. did you also want to request retroactive support? And that would be support going back to the date of your separation.
Yes.
And you said you separated in June of 2023?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Since June of 2023, has Mr. Barron sent you any money or supplies, anything like that to help out with Grace?
Yes.
Okay, if you had to total it all up and put a dollar value on all of the support that he's given to you since June of 2023, how much support has he given you?
I actually have it documented here. Let me find this paper. $940 in 2.5 years.
940.
Yes, sir.
How big is the place that you're living?
It is, I believe, a 3-bedroom.
Okay, so if Grace were to visit, she would have her own bedroom?
Correct.
Okay. And the other person that you're living with is not a minor, is that correct? Not a child that you're caring
Sure.
for or anything?
Correct.
Okay. All right. And we heard that you have one other biological child who's still below the age of 18, is that correct?
Yes, and that is Evan.
Okay. And are you providing support for Zevin right now?
Yes.
Okay. Who's the party who has custody of Zevin?
He is with a coworker right now. He had asked me to stay so he could work at the grocery store where he was working at for a couple of months to save some money. So he is staying with him, one of his supervisors, I believe. Not his overall supervisor, but one of his shift managers.
Okay, but is there
I'm sorry, go ahead.
is there a court order in place where you're to pay?
No.
Okay,
Oh, sorry, where I pay what?
where you pay child support or provide medical support for Zevin?
No, it's just based on a kind of as needed thing. Let's make sure that he has what he needs.
Okay, so what's the situation with Zevin's mother? We heard a moment ago that we don't believe her
Right.
rights were terminated, but she's been very uninvolved in his life. So what's the situation there?
That's correct. She actually left the marriage when 7 months and hasn't contributed anything financially or even physically. She's called maybe a handful of times throughout the years on his birthday or maybe Christmas, but she has not even, I think she may have visited once, but
Okay,
that's
so
been the extent of it. I never pursued anything. I know that the whole purpose of her being out of the picture was she is an addict and she didn't want to be a mom or a wife, so she left and kind of pursued that lifestyle.
okay,
And so
so while I'm
I
sorry.
knew she wasn't prepared or able to pay anything, and I was fine with not having any contact. I felt like if she did start showing support, that she would demand some kind of visitation, and she wasn't in a place where that would have been safe.
Okay, so just what I want to get across now is while you and Ms. Barron were married and living together, Zevin was living with the two of you, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And after the two of you separated, what happened to Zevin?
He had asked to he didn't want to stay there in that area. We were living in a different city, different town. And so he asked if he could stay with my sister, and he was there for a little bit. And he started, I think he started vaping. My sister vapes, and so does her husband. And he took one of their vapes, and that was a game changer for him. So they didn't reach out to me. They actually just reached out to Lisa, and Zevin went back to Spur. I didn't object to him going back to Spur because he said he had problems with the schooling in Dallas where my sister lived. And so I thought that maybe if he went back to that area, school would be fine. And he thought so as well. So we both agreed that he would finish the school year back in Spur, and then he would move with me at the end of the school year. So that's what we had discussed.
Okay, complicated situation, it sounds like, but there are no orders in place regarding Zevon as far as support or
Support.
conservatorship or anything. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. And a moment ago, you heard Ms. Barron talking about the conservatorship regarding Grace, that she wants to be the sole managing conservator, make all the decisions for Grace. Do you agree with that, or do you want to also be a joint managing
don't agree.
conservator?
I would like to be joint managing conservator.
Okay, so you want to be involved in making decisions for Grace for her benefit?
Yes, for her benefit, yes.
Okay. And you understand that's a little difficult when you're living that far away, but you still want to be involved.
I understand, but I want to be involved as much as I can. I'm gonna leave. Gracie is about to be 14, and so as long as I'm just keep my communication open with her, I'm okay with whatever she decides. What we all kind of agree on is I just want to be part of that decision making. I don't demand that I have control over anything. Just
Right.
included is all I'm really asking.
And we heard earlier that you're living in Louisiana. Is that correct?
Correct.
Whereabouts in Louisiana? And you don't have to give an exact address, just kind of a
Yeah,
whereabouts.
I'm in New Orleans.
You're in New Orleans. Okay.
Yeah, I got a New Orleans. Yeah, that's zip code. Yep, I'm in New Orleans.
All right. Do you have health insurance available to you through your employment that you would rather put Grace on?
I do have health insurance, but I do not feel like it would benefit Grace to put it on. I ran into a problem when I did move here because I originally purchased health insurance in Texas that I needed to have. I didn't have coverage on my medications and very limited coverage on who I could see as far as providers. So I think adding Gracie to my medical insurance would make it harder for her to see providers and be part of a network being in Texas. So I don't think it would be a good idea to have her carried through my insurance.
Okay. And your insurance right now is through your work in Louisiana?
Correct.
All right. What kind of work do you do?
I'm a maintenance technician and I just do maintenance work at a human services building.
Are you paid by the hour or are you paid a regular salary?
I'm paid by the hour.
How much do you make an hour?
$23.25.
And how many hours a week do you work?
40.
Okay. And just so that the judge is fully informed, the insurance plan through your work, how much would it cost to add Grace to your insurance?
I don't have that figure with me right now, so I'm not sure. I have no idea. I would be guessing if I gave you an amount.
Okay.
I didn't even think to look at that because I thought it would be more difficult for her to seek healthcare if I did add her, but I have no idea what it would cost.
Okay. All right, Judge, I'll pass the witness.
Okay, Ms. Barron, do you have any questions of Mr. Barron about what he just testified to?
I do. You stated that you are currently financially supporting Zevon. So why have you not been financially supporting Grace?
I was waiting for an order to be in place.
Okay. As far as the insurance, adding her to your insurance, well, I don't know. This isn't really a question, but there are many divorced couples who live in different states. So there is a workaround for me being able to use his insurance for Gracie. It probably means getting referrals from a physician, but it can be done.
Okay, do you have a question, Ms. Barron?
No, that's what I said. I really don't think that was a question, but
Yeah, that's a statement. All right, so any other questions though?
No, I believe that was it.
Okay. Mr. Barron, how long have you been employed at this current position?
Since the April 1st
Of 25?
of this year, yes, April 1st of this year. was actually March 30th.
And where were you working prior to that?
I was working, I hadn't found a job here in Louisiana. Last time I was working was in Texas in the middle of December. I moved here and I did find a job briefly, but it wasn't the right fit for me. I only worked there for 3 weeks. And so I didn't really consider it an employment.
So, what date do you, are you saying that you and Miss Barron separated?
I moved out in June of 2023.
And
And
so
I have screenshots where I
since-
have sent money.
since
I'm sorry, go
June-
ahead.
Since June of 2023, you've been employed until April of this year, unemployed since June of 2003 through April
No,
of 25.
No, I was unemployed from December 15th of 2024 until March 30th of 2025.
So where were you working from June of 23 to December of 24?
Patton Springs and Afton, Texas.
And what were your wages there?
I'm sorry?
What were your wages?
Oh, they were $19 an hour. 1901 to be exact.
Okay. Any other questions, Mr. Bunashek?
There is one thing that I believe I forgot to go over with Mr. Barron. Mr. Barron, just to cover this base, since you separated from Ms. Barron, how much would you say you sent to her for support for Grace?
Oh, I have that in my screenshots. I don't have it. I haven't calculated it up right now. I believe it was 1,600. It was a little bit over the 900. I know she's not counting a couple of months that were also in addition, but I have an itemized, and I believe it's closer to 1,653, maybe. I think.
Okay,
It was 55. Yeah.
okay, so you haven't totaled it up, but you believe it's around 16 or 1,650?
Yes.
Okay. All right, that's it, Judge. I'll pass the witness.
Okay. Any other questions, Ms. Barron?
That figure that you're counting, are you counting the money that you sent me for your medical insurance? Because I kept you on my medical insurance up until December of 2024. And so you were paying half of the medical insurance.
I was paying $275 for medical insurance. And that's what I figured. And it's itemized that I paid.
That was not child support though.
275.
275 was not child
No,
support.
that was
Hold on.
Right.
Hold on. I'm confused
You're
about.
right. It was an addition to.
Okay. Can you repeat your question, Ms. Barron?
The figure that he's come up with, is that just child support? Or is he counting because I kept him on my medical insurance even after we separated. And so he was giving me a portion of the medical insurance.
Okay. Okay. And your answer, Mr. Barron?
That $275 a month was in addition to child support. It's itemized on my screenshots.
Okay. Anything else, Ms. Barron? Any other questions?
No, ma'am.
I'm arriving at a guideline support amount of $642. There are a lot of assumptions in those calculations, Judge.
I got you. I appreciate them. Okay. Ms. Barron, what the Attorney General's office has stated basically the financial part of what they're requesting. What are you requesting?
The child support, that's great. The only thing I'm still, he mentioned doing the reimbursement on the medical insurance. And so, because I don't think that amount is an accurate amount I would rather he put Gracie on his insurance, that he carry medical insurance for her.
Okay. Have you always provided medical insurance, Ms. Barron?
I have,
Okay.
and I will
Um,
still, I'm not going to drop her off my policy. She'll just have it as a secondary.
Okay. All right. Mr. Barron, what are you requesting?
Since I don't have any requests other than just to be part of the decision making, the conservatorship.
Okay. All right. I do find that the parties are currently married but separated. The child was born of the marriage. Mr. Barron has a duty to support and is the legal father of the child. I am naming Ms. Barron sole managing conservator of the child with the exclusive right to determine the primary residence of the child without regard to geographic location. I am naming Mr. Barron a possessory conservator of the child, which will allow you to get information, Mr. Barron, but in the paperwork, you will be listed as a possessory conservator. I am ordering, I find evidence that it would be in the best interest not to order a standard possession order because there's just too many variables that are unknowns out there as to where the child would be, who the child is with, the circumstances of the child, and just the past issues with Mr. Barron and his other child. So I'm going to order the weekends of the standard possession order, which is one weekend of Mr. Barron's choosing, from 6 p.m. on Friday to 6 p.m. on Sunday. And of course, that would have to be coordinated. Mr. Barron indicated that he's not going to do anything without the agreement of Ms. Barron and the child. But that, of course, the child is at the age that would have to be coordinated with the activities that the child's involved with. I'm going to order that Mr. Barron provide Ms. Barron 14 days notice prior to exercising that possession and access. I am also, in addition to the weekends, ordering Thursday possession from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. to be exercised electronically, either through video means or through phone, so that the child can be made available to Mr. Barron on a weekly basis. Doesn't have to be on Thursday, but needs to be on a weekly basis. At the very beginning of the possession order, it will state that both Ms. Barron and Mr. Barron can have possession at any time mutually agreed to by the parties. That means you can agree to any type of visitation and not ever look at the possession and access order that I'm ordering. As to the extended possession periods, Christmas, spring break, weekends, and that's where I'm deviating from the standard possession order, but those are to be exercised as mutually agreed to by the parties. I will order that Mr. Barron shall have possession during those periods of time, but they will be as agreed to by the parties.
So I have a question.
Just a second, I'm not finished. So
Okay.
I'm ordering that Ms. Barron maintain the health insurance and the dental insurance through her employer. I am ordering that Mr. Barron pay cash medical support of $138.74 monthly beginning July 1st, 2025. I'm ordering Mr. Barron to pay cash dental support of $6.58 beginning July 1st, 2025. And I'm ordering current child support in the amount of $653 beginning July 1st, 2025. That is only including one child before the court. I'm not including the other child as a credit, Mr. Barron, because that child does not live with you and you're not under a court order. So that's just by the law. As far as retroactive medical support, I'm ordering $1,803.50 as of today, and ordering Mr. Barron to pay $35 per month towards that retroactive medical support beginning July 1st, 2025. Retroactive child support being assessed against Mr. Barron in the amount of $11,500 as of today, and I'm ordering Mr. Barron to pay $100 per month towards that judgment beginning July 1st, 2025. There is not going to be a non-disclosure in this order, and court costs will be assessed against Mr. Barron to be paid 1 year from today's date. Now, beginning with Mr. Bunashek. Mr. Bunashek, do you need any clarifications, and were all issues addressed?
I think you've got all my issues, Judge. I just need a couple things that I couldn't write down quite fast enough. So the medical support payment beginning July 1st.
$6.58.
Oh, that was the
medical.
dental,
I'm
wasn't it?
sorry, medical $138.74.
138.74. Okay, thank you. And the payment on the retroactive medical support,
$35.
35. Okay, and the last thing that I missed was the electronic communication, the start times. It ends at 8 p.m. and what's the beginning time?
6 p.m.
6 p.m. Okay. I believe that's everything, Your Honor.
Okay, and those don't have to last the whole 2 hours. It's, that's the time that the child will be made available for Mr. Barron. But you guys can agree and they can communicate as much as they want to. I just want to make sure there's weekly communication. Okay, now Ms. Barron, any clarifications?
Yes, on the retro medical, he actually did contribute to the medical coverage from the time we were separated until December of 2024, because I still carried him on my insurance plans.
Okay, the retroactive medical support that I ordered was for the half of the doctor's bill, the emergency room, and the orthodontics.
Gotcha. Okay, sorry, I misunderstood what that was for.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Any other clarification? No?
No.
All right, Mr. Barron, clarifications?
If there's no agreement during the holiday visitations, what do I do is one question. How do I come to
I would
a
probably
visitation?
arrange your weekend visitation to hit over the holiday.
Okay. And who enforces that?
And another legal action would need to be filed, not through the Attorney General's office,
Okay, like
a private attorney.
okay. Okay, and as far as what I have paid, do I get any credit for that?
Yes, sir. A credit was given for the retroactive child support, and I credited, actually, I had calculated a higher figure than, so about $1,000 was credited for the retroactive support that you paid over the last 2 years.
Okay.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. Any party can ask for a new hearing on any of the issues I ruled on today by filing a trial de novo with the Dickens County District Clerk's Office. It must be filed within the next 3 days. It must be in writing. It must specify the portion of my ruling in which a new hearing is being requested. And notice must go out to all of the parties on the case, including the Attorney General's office. Mr. Bunashek will draft the order that I have ordered today. He will submit it to me for signature. Once I have reviewed it and signed it, copies will go out to each of you. That concludes today's hearing, and you're free to disconnect from the Zoom meeting.
Thank you.